Hello, beautiful people, and welcome to Drawing Down the Stars. I'm Snappy, and thank you for joining me today, December 29th, 2024. It's a beautiful day. It's a wonderful evening. First off, I just want to apologize for missing yesterday's tarot. I had planned to do it, but we were attending a party and having a good time, enjoying the festive season, and I didn't make it back home in time. So we'll make it up to you today and have a beautiful, beautiful reading for you. So let's start off by giving a shout out to everyone here in our chat. So great to see you, Mother Rhea. Much love. Green Onion, much love. Beatnik Bulba, much love. Valerie, much love. Holler Haint, great to see you. Christy, much love. Pamela, much love. Karianne, great to see you. NA, much love. All right, amazing. So glad you guys could join me. So let's take a moment and talk about today's astrology. So our moon has entered Sagittarius. Beautiful, optimistic, outgoing, forward-thinking energy, Sagittarius. The divine archer. It's that energy of setting your sights on your desire and moving in motion, pursuing your goals with the totality of your being. So when we have this energy in the moon, what we feel from that Sagittarius is this brightness, this connection to what we need to do, this sense of purpose and direction, but there also is this restlessness that accompanies this energy. There'll be a desire to break free of domesticity, to break free of mundanity, to move and to do something radical, right? But what's interesting is we're also grounded with this Capricornian energy. Now, while Capricorn is that incredible, ambitious energy of ascending the mountain, it is also one that is practically rooted in the earth and understands the necessity of building and the need for slow, meticulous action. So when you combine this with that Sagittarius energy, you're still going to feel this need to break out of the mundanity, but maybe you can balance that with that need for practicality and that understanding that these things serve a purpose and are important, right? So this is pretty balanced energy that you can really focus in on, do what is needed, right? Find your purpose and build towards it. Work in loving harmony. Very active energy, you know? Love it, love it, love it, love it. Okay. So I also want to talk to you for a moment about the title. Connect to the world and find joy in harmony. When I was meditating the other day and I was looking on the cards, I had drawn the Ace of Cups. And the Ace of Cups is such incredible, beautiful energy. It is about imagining one moving in flow. It is the root of the water element. It is the totality of that emotional flowing connection within our lives. So when we see that Ace of Cups, it's about engaging this energy, and it's about imagining going to its conclusion. How would we want that energy to be in our life? How do we wish to connect and flow with others? And when we see the ace, it's such a positive sign. It's such a sign of new rebirth, new beginnings, new connections, new inspiration. So when I see this energy, it means that there's love, there's community, something is thriving, that is inspiring us to act, that's causing us to imagine, that's causing us to desire. And when we have that root of the ace, we can really pursue this image. We can connect to that cup. We can drink of it. We can imagine what it looks like, and we can work and build towards it. We can manifest that tower in that idealized form. But it begins here with the plan. It begins here with that root connection, with that inspiration, with that desire for harmony. So the message I kept getting from the tarot was that we need to really embrace that inspiring energy, that pursuit of harmony, and imagine where that could go. Imagine how that'll play out in our life and the role that we can take, the people we can bring in, and the energy that we can share. Right? We want to bring that reciprocal loving energy with us. We want to use it to transform our lives and to spur on generation, to encourage us to push forward into that beautiful future and to nourish it, right? Love it. Okay. And I wanted to read for you guys a fun poem today. Let me just find it here. It's called Hepaticas by Madison Julius Kawine. And hepaticas is an interesting word because it has a dual kind of meaning. On one hand, it is lover's wort or liverwort, which is a common and theogenic plant. Well, it's a common herbal plant that's used to treat liver disease. But also hepatica refers to the liver itself, and it refers to the divination through literature, right? That the haruspex would perform. So it's quite a deep, interesting title. And the hepaticas, these flowers, are often purple or pink or blue, right? It's interesting. So let me read the poem for you. In the frail hepaticas that the early springtide tossed, sapphire-like along the ways of the woodland that she crossed, I behold with other eyes footprints of a dream that flies. One who leads me, whom I seek, in whose loveliness there is all the glamour that the Greek knew as wind-born Artemis. I am mortal, woe is me, her sweet immortality. Spirit, must I always fare following thy averted looks? Now thy white arm, now thy hair glimpsed among the trees and brooks. Thou who hauntest whispering all the slopes and vales of spring. Cease to lure, or grant to me all thy beauty, though it pain, slay with splendor utterly, flash revealment on my brain, and one moment let me see all thy immortality. Beautiful. Let me perceive you in your glory. Let me stand in awe. Let me embrace that divine image and recognize you for who you truly are, right? And we see that covetous desire, right? But we see it fixated in a powerful way to appreciate and honor and respect the beauty, not to possess it, not to degrade it, right? To stand in awe of that immortality and be moved. Love it. All right. Let us continue. We're now going to go to our Ganapati oracle. Ganesha, Ganapati, is the divine child, the guardian of the threshold, the lord of beginnings, and the master of the Ganas. And we ask them to send us an inspiring message and ensure that our words are heard by those who need to hear them. So Ganapati, what is today's message? Let's see. Decision. Decision. Wow, this is interesting energy. Decision. Now comes a time when you need to decide, right? Now comes a time when you need to take into your own life those actions that will set you upon a course, right? That will avert you from one path and put you along another. You need to make that reasoned judgment and wind your road, right? Figure out where you need to go and how you get there. But regardless, a decision is required. You cannot be in many places at once. And if you do not make a decision, the universe will decide for you. This is something that is really profound, and it immediately takes me back to the emperor energy. The emperor energy is such intense energy and hard for people to engage with, right? It can lead to that tyranny, or it can lead to those feelings of inadequacy, right? When confronted with the need for the emperor, many of us balk. Many of us cannot don that responsibility, cannot take that authority. But here we are called. We must decide for ourselves and make the decision in our own life. We must become that authority, and we must take responsibility for our actions and use that reasoned judgment and make a choice, walk a path. And then you have to live with the consequences of that action, at least for a time. Intense energy, but powerful energy. And it is the only way forward. It is how you take responsibility. If you cannot become the emperor, you cannot complete the path. But the important thing is to recognize he is one step along the way. That authority, that power must also be shed and let go. Like all of the cards, like all of that tarot energy. When it's run its course, it must be set free. But when you taste that power of the emperor, few people wish to give it up. But that is the burden. And that is the game of that decision making, right? Sometimes we are called, and sometimes we have to let go. Now we are called. Now is the time to take that authority in your own life. Decide for yourself and live with the consequences of your choice. Intense energy. Let's continue. We're now going to go to our sortes. And today the sortes is a form of bibliomancy. That is divination through literature. And it comes to us from the Greco-Roman tradition. And we invoke the goddesses of inspiration, the divine muses, and we ask them to send us an inspiring message through the text. And today we're going to begin with Women Who Run with Wolves by Clarissa Pinkola Estes. So muses, what is the message from Pinkola Estes? Inspire us. Now we are in another negrito of wandering and not knowing what will become of us. And yet in this very raggedy condition, we are brought to sup on the tree of life. Wow. This feels so important and powerful for our current moment. Now we are in another negrito of wandering. Negrito. That is dark alchemy. That is the alchemy of decay, of death, and transformation. It is the alchemy that renews life and leads to rebirth, right? The processing of the decomposition, the stuff that we don't like to look at or think about, right? But the most powerful and transformative of all of that alchemical work. The negrito of wandering, right? It's about recognizing that we are in a state of having to go back upon ourselves, where there is going to be this destruction and this need for healing, right? This need to heal the wounds of the earth. And that earth is going to have to go through a time of transformation, right? Of not knowing, of uncertainty, of wandering, right? And yet in this very ragged condition, we are brought to sup upon this tree of life. Why? Because it is always in those darkest moments when we are pushed to our brink that we can truly bring about transformation, that we can truly imagine something different, try something different, break from the bonds of the cycles of repetition. You know, So much of that Saturnian force, even though it is ugly and painful, it is about forcing adaptation, about forcing us to face something great enough to make us evolve. And if we fail, we decay and are remade anyway, right? That is the game. That is the game that we are playing. And we're in a very difficult moment as a species, as a planet. You know, I often wonder, right, in the coming generations, will humanity survive as it is, or will we be fundamentally transformed into something else? It's hard to say. Life will continue, no doubt. But will it be us? Let us continue. All right. Lao Tzu, Tao Te Ching. Muses, what is the message from the Tao? Inspire us. He who gets as his own all under heaven does so by giving himself no trouble with that end. If one take trouble with that end, he is not equal to getting as his own all under heaven. This is interesting. He who gets as his own all under heaven does so by giving himself no trouble with that end. By giving himself no trouble with that end. If one takes trouble with that end, he is not equal to getting as his own all under heaven. The person who truly possesses it is the person who cares not of possession, right? Who strives not to possess, right? As soon as you bring in that conflict, right? As soon as you cause that trouble, then you cease to own and be fully connected with anything. Where does that trouble come from? Where is the conflict, right? What does it mean to be connected and to possess something? Because what we're seeing here, he who gets as his own all under heaven, gets as his own. This is not what we in the modern Western world would think of as ownership, right? But this is a greater owning, a greater possession, a greater understanding, a greater connection that comes through what? Letting go, through not engaging, through not troubling one's mind with such silliness. Wow. Interesting. Let's continue. All right. We're going to go now to Federico Garcia Lorca, 3 Tragedies. Muses, what is the message from Lorca? Inspire us. Oh my gosh. Tell me if your husband has fertile seed, so water through your clothes will sing indeed. Tell me if your husband has fertile seed, so water through your clothes will sing indeed. What a wild image, right? The fertile seed in the water flowing, bringing about that new generation of life, right? Interesting. But there's so much loss with every creation. There's so much loss, right? So much seed is swept away. So many, so many eggs never fertilized. That's just how life is, right? Tell me if your husband has fertile seed, so water through your clothes will sing indeed. So the water will sing through you. Interesting. Wow. Let's continue. All right. What do I feel like? Here we go. 10 plays, Euripides. Muses, what is the message from Euripides? Inspire us. So be it. What beginning shall I make of my reproaches against you? What shall be the end? What shall occupy the middle place in my argument? So be it. What beginning shall I make of my reproaches against you? What shall be the end? What shall occupy the middle place in my argument? This is really interesting imagery, and it immediately makes me think of that Ace of Cups energy that is our signifier for today, right? This, what beginning? So be it. I recognize the energy. I recognize I have to begin. I recognize I have to start here. And it begins with a recognition of the present, of the current reality. So be it. This is where I start from. What beginning shall I make of my reproaches against you? What beginning shall I make? What we're seeing here is that there's an engagement, a verbal conflict, one that will require an essay, right? Let's see. What shall be the end? What shall occupy the middle place in my argument? What shall be the end? And what shall occupy the middle place in my argument? What do I hope to achieve through this engagement, right? You have to envision the ending. You have to have a goal. You have to imagine where you are going, right? So, what does that end look like? But also, what shall occupy the middle place in my argument? What is the ultimate path forward? What is my best argument, right? What is that reasoned middle thing that is going to drive this image, that's going to be that place of center that we seek first before we can even get to the end, right? It is that that will lead to the success that is the root of this transformation and of this growth. Interesting energy. But we're seeing that magical act. So be it. Recognizing the present, recognizing where we're at in the world and what needs to be done. What beginning shall I make of my reproaches against you? How do I begin this argument? How do I start this essay? How do I reproach what you have said in the argument you have put forward? What shall be the end? What is the conclusion? What do I hope to achieve? What is my argument? Right? What do I have to offer instead of you? Indeed, or sorry, what shall occupy the middle place in my argument? What is my strongest argument? My strongest point? That reasoned idea, right? What is the way forward? So this is describing how you formulate, how you engage, how you pursue that magical action. All right, let's continue. We're now going to go to The Dark Star by March Cost. Muses, what is the message from Cost? Inspire us. Amsterdam, like a lost Atlantis, or Atalantis. Love it. Like a lost Atalantis, arose among its sullen waterways, and through those moldering piles set 50 feet in tideless cracks, through Gothic tower and Spanish facade in the blind hour of midnight. She saw London shine, autumn and the Thames foreshadowed in the stagnant water. Whoa. Like a lost Atlantis arose among its sullen waterways, and through those moldering piles set 50 feet in tideless cracks, through Gothic tower and Spanish facade and the blind hour of midnight. She saw London shine, autumn and the Thames foreshadowed in the stagnant water. Atalanta, yeah. Beatnik Bulba, Atalanta, which we know is that incredible Amazonian, right, who challenged Hercules and became a member of the Argonauts. Powerful, powerful woman, the strongest woman ever, right? And to see her reflected in that name of Atlantis, but in this version, right, is interesting because they're connecting it to that Amazonian root. That Amazonian root. And also what we see here is that this Amsterdam, right, it is that power of the city. I immediately think when I think of the muse tradition and the goddess tradition, it's inseparable from the city. It's inseparable from that creation of the city. I've been doing a lot of work reading into the goddess Hestia or Vesta in the Roman. And we find that she is the beginning of the city, the Prytaneum, the beginning of the earliest rise of the city state, even, right? And becomes the center of political discourse, right? In these early Greek settlements, specifically in Athens, as well as other places. But the point that I'm trying to make, right, is that the city is the heart of the community. And it is that building of the city that brings us together to strive for that Apollonian height, to come together to build in beauty, right? And to allow this justice, to allow so much creation, right? And this Hestia energy is always contrasted with Hermes, who's her polar opposite in many ways. Well, Hestia is closed and contained in the city. Hermes is that magic outward, right? Who transforms and moves in constant motion. But what I'm seeing here with this energy about the Atalantis arose among its sullen waterways is recognizing the power of these cities, recognizing the coming and the creation that results in these powerful communal centers and the force that they occupy within our global society. And that they're founded upon these myths as well. They're founded on these great transformations. In many ways, Amsterdam and London are like mythical images of places like Atlantis. I often think about Paris and Notre Dame. Notre Dame began its life as a temple to the great mother Isis, and yet it's still there. Ever beautiful, ever transcendent. There's so much about these cities and these places, and they're far older roots than we can ever even imagine. Let's continue. All right, we're going to go now to Faust, Goethe. Muses, what is the message from Goethe? Inspire us. Good point there, Beatnik. Everyone wants to be the new Rome. Everyone wishes to be that jewel of the empire, to create their own epics, right? To create their own foundational epics that transform themselves. And you see this, to create their own mythic image, their own story, to turn their city into something transcendent. Yes. What is the message here from Goethe? The Witch. Now here's a ballad, sing it, and you'll find a marvelous effect is guaranteed. How beautiful. We have the witch, right? That woman who is a bringer of medicine, a doer of magic, right? An incredible, powerful image, right? And here she's telling you plainly, now here's a ballad, sing it, and you'll find a marvelous effect is guaranteed. Sing your songs, write your hymns. Personally in my own practice, this is something that is very important to me, the writing of prayers and the saying of prayers and the engaging of song, even just in your personal mind or in private. These are powerful, transcendent things that can lead to incredible awakening energy, right? So engage, write, create, sing, and be marveled. All right, we're going to do one final sortes, and then we will switch to our tarot. So let us go to Magia by Alan Chapman. Muses, what is the message from Alan Chapman? That is eternity, and this is the beginning of eternal time. You can talk about things having a beginning and an end in terms of time, but time itself, the fact of things having a beginning and an end, never ends. How beautiful. You're seeing those two elements of time, right? We have that greater sense of space, right? Of that essential quality of the universe, which is beyond any construction like time. It simply is. It's that existence in and of itself, right? That cosmic womb, that gap, that space in which we exist. And then we have time. We have time itself. And we see this clearly within the Saturnian myth, right? Before the rise of Saturn, you have the sky celestial Uranus. But it is that force, that child of the sky, that severs Uranus, that castrates the father. And through that creates creation in and of itself, gives birth to life in the earth and to form, to place, right? It is that action that creates and manifests the worlds, right? The underworld, Olympus, the heavens, the waters, earth. All of these places are created in that moment of cutting. Time is that perception. It is that putting things into place. It is that act of violence which separates one from the other and creates that duality in which difference can exist. Time starts with that severing and that separation, that cutting away and revealing two distinct entities, the masculine and the feminine, right? The conscious and the unconscious. And it is from that it results in that ever expansion. But it is no different than what existed before fundamentally. It's like a new way of perceiving. That duality exists within the unity. The unity is still there, right? It is still there. It's that one in the many, Yeah, the yin yang is a perfect example of this because on one hand, it is a perfect circle enclosed in and of itself. And then on the other hand, it is divided into black and white. But both are true. It is a completed circle and it is divided in two. And that is our reality, the one and the many. All right. We are now going to go to our tarot proper. But before I do, please give me a like and a subscribe. It really does make a big difference. It boosts everything in the algorithm. I would truly appreciate it. Please leave a comment if you find any of this inspiring or that it resonated with you. All right. And if you would like a private reading, you can reach out to me as well, snappydts@gmail.com. And if you would like to donate to the show, you can find my PayPal in the description below. And today we're going to be using the Thoth Tarot by Lady Frida Harris and Aleister Crowley. And we will be invoking the energy of Saturn, Kronos, and asking them to dissect our life, to cut it up and expose it upon the plate, to show us the interconnections so we can learn how to rise above, how to avoid the conflicts, how to evolve, how to manifest our true will, and what that greater message is for the community. All right. And as always, that center card is our most important card. And we'll start by cutting this in 3. Okay. All right. In that center card, what do we got? Oh, how beautiful. The 9 of Discs. Gain. Incredible energy gain. Incredible energy, right? Gain is that manifestation in the earth in its absolute height of abundance, right? The 9 is the most powerful number in that Pythagorean number system. And when we see it here within the discs, this is that manifestation, the fruits of the earth coming to fruition, ever expanding growth. The 9 manifests all other higher numbers, right? It's that absolute explosion of form, ever expanding into infinity. So what we see here is we have this grand infinite expansion, this incredible power born into the earth as our center, as our driving force. Where's this going? Oh, wow. Beautiful. What I'm seeing here is that we're going to be seeing the fruits of this gain very soon. And it is a result of us embodying that magical energy of the magus. The magus is that divine actor. They're the one who can manifest through the connected self, right? They can engage the conscious and the unconscious mind. They can be both masculine and feminine, walk between the poles, imagine in totality what they need, and give voice to their story, right? Tell something new, shape reality through their will. All right, where's this energy going? Let's see. How beautiful. How beautiful. We see the art card. Not only are we doing that act of magic, right? That imagination, where we are doing that greater work of uniting the unconscious and conscious mind to go in forward to that creation. We go to that ascended heights still, right? The magus is the initiator. They begin that magical act. They are the ones that sets things in motion, that begins that path upon walking the true will, upon pursuing that desire, right? It begins with that imagined action and then the motion, that hermetic way forward. But what we see with the art is the consummation, right? It is that act of lovemaking which results in creation. Incredibly, incredibly beautiful, powerful energy. It's like the magus, but now in that creative act. It's the priestess and the magus coming together, right? The priestess and the magus coming together for the creation of something new and greater than both energies still, right? Something of both, but greater still, new manifestation. And that art is about creating both of the self, as we see here, the divine androgyne, right? We have that incredible, look at this card. The art is just so majestic, right? At the center, we have the divine androgyne, male and female, black and white, working and mixing together in that cup, that new saving energy that will transform us and rebirth something new, something greater than what we are, right? And this is creation in all of its forms. It is not simply the birth of children, but it's the creation or the creation of art, but it's the creation of all new forms within the earth. And connected to that 9 of discs, this is something tangible. This is something physical. We are manifesting and creating and physically transforming reality through creative efforts, through that production and manifestation, through that desirous act. Wow, I love it so much. Interesting. Such intense, profound energy. Okay, now we have the Hanged Man. The Hanged Man. Wow, the Hanged Man is interesting, right? The Hanged Man is that incredible energy of going through the process of transformation, right? Of facing those extreme pressure of life. I was talking earlier about that Saturnian force that drives us, that forces us to confront the self and evolve. The Hangman is the one who goes through and faces that Saturnian energy. They gaze into the abyss, and they, through that confrontation with the other, transform themselves and radically become new. And through this transformation are greater still. I always think of the story of Odysseus when I see this card. And I immediately think of Odysseus engaging the sirens. He has his crew put wax into their ears so that they cannot hear that siren song. But Odysseus knows that he must experience that horror, right, in order to understand and confront it. And so he has his men tie himself to the mast of his ship so that he can listen to the song and perceive the sirens, but not succumb to their violence. Face it in a way that while it can still hurt and scare and terrify, he's able to perceive and understand and engage. And through this process, He now knows what the sirens are. He understands the song and how it affects the hearts of man. He can stand ever greater towards it and face that terror, right? Powerful, powerful thing. And the hangman is also that energy, though, of after you face, after you gaze into the abyss, now you have to make that action of ascending down. You have to climb down from that mast. You have to get down off that tree and you have to engage, right? You now have the knowledge. You've now seen what you're up against and you have to face it. You have to face it. And you know how to face it, but it's going to require a physical transformation, right? A sacrifice of something, a letting go of the past and a reborn into the new, right? You have to face that trial. You have to engage this other. You know, the conflict has to be won. Where's this energy going? Oh, beautiful. That Queen of Wands. How powerful the Queen of Wands. That incredible artist in her absolute height when we see in the tarot, right? The Queen of Wands is that inspirational fire, that water of fire. She is that fire that moves in flow, that inspires others to act. She takes that perception, that gaze, and she's able to use that and send back another message, to bring about transformation of the other, to attract and control, right? To manipulate, to persuade. Powerful, powerful, incredible, beautiful artistic energy. What I'm seeing here next to this hangman, this is similar to a previous reading I did, I think, a few days ago. What I'm seeing here is that we need to become this artist. We have the art card, we have the magus. This is about embodying that energy of the queen, of being that incredible creatrix, the one that has the wherewithal. You know, it is not easy to be that queen, to be the object of desire, to be the fixation, right? What do you then do with that energy? How do you control it? How do you engage with it, right? You'll see various artists across history. Some succeed, others become destroyed by it. It's such intense energy, right? But what we see here is the thing with the queen is that she is that inspiring creator that can cause change, that can make people reflect, that can bring that fire into the flow, right? The signifier for today's reading was that Ace of Cups, right? That beautiful energy of bringing the flow, of bringing community, of connecting and engaging in loving harmony, right? So it's beautiful that we have this queen energy, which is always that water. But now with that fire, what we're seeing is what we need to bring into this flow, what needs to be essential to that creation of that cup, to building of that completed tower in the suit of water. We have to be that inspiring energy. We have to move and flow with the water, but we have to inspire others through our action, through our beauty, through that aesthetic power. Let's continue. Oh, wow. How interesting. You know, because this is Addison Sibylle. Look at this. This is Addison Sibylle. If the tarot could be ever any clearer, right? Like, look, here we have Sibylle guarded by her jaguar, enthroned, right? That fiery queen, that great mother energy. And then we have that Prince of Cups, right? I've talked about this at length, but the Prince of Cups is that Addis energy, right? This is that energy of the youth that recognizes that they have become bound within the waters, right? Bound within the water. And that they need to make an active change. They need to bring that inspiration in. They need to take that beast, that drug, that brings that madness, that leads to a physical transformation, that leads to that divine imitation, right? Look at Addis. He rides the beast to ascend out of the water, right? Out of the water, because he is the heir of water, right? The princes are that air, that idyllic energy. And this is him striving to ascend, to move beyond that flow. But what we see here is that what is needed is the going through and the facing of that hangman experience. The recognition that air-like idealism is not the key, right? The key to this creation, to bring about this manifestation of gain, to bring about our image, our true will, right? Some people, that path of air is for them, but for us in this moment, our path is one of fire. It's one of that inspiration, of that lust, of that desire, those wands, right? Those clubs of Heracles. We are going out to engage the universe, right? And this energy of Attis is about recognizing that, about going through this process, about refining oneself and becoming that Queen of Wands. Still of that water, but now with that inspiring energy, that powerful, passionate beauty that can bring that creative, artistic element. Let's see where this is going. Oh, wow, the Lovers. Now, this is so beautiful. And at the bottom, right, connected to that 9 of gain and to that hangman. This is really amazing, you know, because this is all about pursuing love, right? This Attis energy is going to become the Queen of Wands, is going to produce the gain because they're in love and they're pursuing love. And the result of love is the consummation, the creation, and the magus, right? And it is that energy of love that will inspire this change, that will lead to this growth. Wow. What I'm seeing here with the hangman is a part of the hangman is about recognizing, in order to engage in that love connection, there has to be a change. There has to be an adaptation. There has to be a growth, right? Often when we're engaged in a relationship, right, and an alchemical wedding is a relationship process. It's about seeing the self reflected in the other and then recognizing the beauty of the other as distinct and worthy of respect. It's that duality of experience that must be engaged, right? And it requires such incredible letting go and openness, a communication, and a willingness to transform, to be made better through that perception of the lover, and to make the lover better through your perception. You know, this is an engagement in a transformative alchemical process. It's not simply the love that we see in the 2 of Cups. This is the love of higher transformation, of higher engagement, of true refinement. And we see that with that hangman, because this is a hangman moment. In order to pursue this love, in order to love the other, there's going to be many of these experiences where we are going to have to let go of things, right? We're going to have to let that love drive us to be able to come together as a cohesive unit, to put aside pettiness for the sake of the other, right? That requires such incredible strength, but that is what it takes to walk that path of the alchemical wedding. Where's this going? Oh, wow. Where are we engaging? What are we marrying? We have the feminine in 2 incredible forms coming together as a result of that true desire of will, right? In that love. Wow, this is beautiful. So on this side, what I'm seeing here is that this is about bringing together that mother loving energy, that reciprocal energy, that energy that can always be there and provide, about being that incredible feminine that is that force of just doing what is necessary to be that bringer of joy, right? To be that flow, to pursue ever into that generation. And then at the top here, we have that feminine in that inspiration that pursues desire, that becomes that muse, that, you know, the other thing with the Queen of Wands is important, right? And a lot of people, especially in modern times, have kind of struggled with this, is that Queen of Wands is that energy of becoming a muse, of wanting to be that object of desire, of wanting to be that creation, that artist that is perceived and engaged, right? Striving to be seen, And again, in our modern society, we see this as negative, right? The muse is lesser than the one that she inspires or he inspires. But that's not true. It's not true, not in this engagement at all. There's something profound about that inspiring image that can lead to change, and it is necessary. You need that spark and the one that can create that spark, or you have nothing, right? And this is about pursuing that spark, right? About bringing that inspiration, about helping others be inspired, right? Being that lover, that mother that can provide that comfort, and then bringing that light that can inspire people to their highest self. And that is what we desire here. This is part of that alchemical wedding, is about becoming and embodying this energy. What I'm seeing here is that this is our ideal. This is our ideal, right? This is where we want to go, is embodying these two divine feminine forms, right? In their idyllic sense. Oh, wow. Victory. Victory. When we can pursue that desire and walk that middle path, we achieve that victory. And what is the result of the victory? It is a love. It is that alchemical wedding. It is the coming together of water and fire, right? For the purposes of artistic creation, right? That's our victory. That's our middle way. It's finding our other self that we can be reflected in, that we can create with, that we can love and share with and be refined by. Wow. But in order to get there, it is going to require us to truly look at ourselves, to truly do that hard work of engagement, to see what is needed and become what is needed. Become what is needed. This is a really profound energy, because this is about learning that lesson and learning, part about being that artist, at least the artist from that energy of the queen, is about wanting to be perceived and attracting perception. And that is an entirely different shift from that energy of the Addis, that prince, which is seeking for that higher idyllic mode, right? That is removed from the earth. Now we're fixating back into this energy of desire and generation. Both the fire and the water go forward, whereas the air is in that lofty height. Interesting. All right. Yeah. When we can pursue that artistic creation, when we can pursue that desire, right? That's when we can truly mature, when we can overcome. And part of it is being in this energy of the Addis, again, recognizing where you fall short, going through that hard work of self-transformation, taking responsibility, climbing up out of the mud, riding upon that beast, going through that act of transformation to become that Sibylle, right? This is an incredible, intense transformation, but it is one that is a possibility, one that we see reflected in the cards, because this happens in the myth. Addis becomes Sibylle reborn, and does it through that sacrifice of self, through that shedding of what is not necessary. And in the case of the Addis story, it is that creative force of masculinity. He lets that go so that he can become the divine feminine, right? We need to find what no longer suits us, what holds us back, what is preventing us from becoming that creatrix, that artist, that inspiring image that can bring beauty and can help others see it and engage and transform themselves. But it is going to require that sacrifice. It is going to require that taking of responsibility and climbing out of the mud, right? That wedding, that pursuit of the love, that is our hangman moment, and that is the goal. In order to truly be in that love, we're going to have to do that hard work, right? We're going to have to be a better person for our partner. We're going to have to be that one who strives and tries, right? Here with the magus, right? What are we desiring? What do we imagine? What are we creating? We're bringing together the two divine feminine forms in their most beautiful, that divine, inspiring beauty, that virginal muse, that artistic creation, right? That incredible power of beauty and force, and also that feminine as the mother, that reciprocal creatrix who can give birth to many forms of herself, who can provide that loving shoulder, who gives in flow no matter what, who's always there, always pursuing that generation, always offering that love. And it is these images that we wish to embody and bring together in that alchemical wedding, that we wish to unite in that creation of art, that loving harmony, that pursuit of connection above all, and that inspiring fire that'll lead to transformation. Wow. Yeah. Let's look at our crosses. Wow. You know, we see here that it is that Prince of Attis that'll connect to that Queen of Cups, because these are directly connected, right? These are directly connected. It's that energy of what I'm seeing here as I look deeper, right? That Queen of Cups is that lover that's we're going to connect to, that mother, right? It's that energy of the mother and the one who is in that role of the mother. And when we connect to her, that will manifest the gain, right? And we're going to connect to her first before we can go through this transformation, right? It's that love, it's the act of love that'll bring this hangman moment and that'll bring the transformation. But first, there's that connection with her, that queen of water, that mother energy. And it is when we can connect with her that we begin, that we take the roots of this nine, right? Beautiful. Okay. Yeah, it is when we can imagine that desire, when we can walk the middle path in that role of fire, when we can truly connect to what inspires us, that we will bring about the gain and that we will become that energy. We will become that artist. We will become that inspiring beauty, right? But to do that, we need to pursue desire, and we need to do it from that middle path. We need to find our balance. And we find our balance through connecting to that mother energy. We find our desire through her, through that pursuit of the love, right? Beautiful. Wow. That's the message, everyone. Find that Queen of Wands. Go through the hard work of transformation. Make the sacrifices needed. Become that inspiring Queen of Wands, that one that can be that beauty, that can share that artistic creation with the world, right? Do the work of creating and manifesting the art, of imagining and bringing together this force in loving harmony, and doing the work of transformation, right? The lovers is that alchemical wedding of engaging. And then the art is the consummation of that love for the purpose of creation, of giving birth to the child to come, to new art, new creation, to that gain, to that transformative power in the earth that will manifest in abundance, in incredible abundance. Pursue love. Become that inspiring artist. Imagine what this is for you and go through that hard work of transformation. That's the message, my friends. I hope it resonated with you. It certainly resonated with me. And we're going to do one final sortes, and then we'll call it an evening. What do we feel like for our final sortes? Oh, I know. We're going to go to the bell jar, Sylvia Plath. Muses, what is the message from Sylvia Plath? Inspire us. The boy skipped another heavier stone. It sank after the second bounce. I don't want to. Your mother's looking for you. She is not. If you go home, I'll give you some candy. The mother is looking for you. If you go home, I'll give you some candy. Quit playing in the water. Quit wasting time skipping stones, right? Engaging in frivolities. It's time to go home, to reconnect to that center, to that base, to that Hestia, that fire, right? Go back to that hearth. Go back to that mother. Go back to that beautiful image. Find her in your life, right? Find that image in your life. Connect to it in that loving energy and create. All right, everyone. That's the message. Thank you so much. And I hope I see you again tomorrow for more live tarot and sortes. Until then, take care.